What's going on there, YouTube, and welcome back to another comic book video. Okay, so we are going to continue our coverage over X-Men comics as we work our way up to Days of Future Present, the next crossover that we are going to talk about when it comes to X-Men comics. But first, we have to jump back over to Excalibur and continue our coverage over Cross Time Caper. Cross Time Caper was a 12-part story arc that was given to us by Marvel Comics as we see Excalibur traveling across the multiverse, being able to visit different universes in the multiverse. Now, when it comes to our heroes, the reason why they're traveling across the multiverse is because of one small device, better known as Widget. You see, when it comes to Widget, he has the ability to open up portals that allow our heroes to travel across the multiverse. But here's the problem. They cannot control where they are going. Now, usually, when it comes to Widget, he gets powered up by the power of the Phoenix. Now, around this time in Marvel Comics, the Phoenix was Rachel Summers. But either way, when it comes to Widget, he is the reason why our heroes are traveling across the multiverse. And they are just hoping that sooner or later, they'll be able to get back to their Earth. Now, the opening pages of this book does a great job in reminding us that when it comes to Megan and Rachel, they do have some kind of connection to one another. And sometimes that connection could involve their powers messing with one another. So, for example, when it comes to Megan, she has the ability to shapeshift. And so when it comes to Rachel, when she wakes up, she realizes that her body is beginning to shift into some other kind of creature. And she knows it's because of Megan. Now, when she goes out of her way to wake up Megan, there is a huge feedback release between the two characters, a Phoenix feedback. Now, let me explain real quick. When it comes to our heroes, they're on a train right now as they're traveling across the multiverse. But like I said earlier, it all comes down to Widget. He has the ability to open up a portal, but he gets powered up by the power of the Phoenix. And so when it comes to Megan and Rachel releasing that huge feedback of Phoenix powers, it does hit Widget, turning him on and opening up another portal. And so you have the train go through that portal, and now our heroes have arrived on a new Earth once again. Now, the reality our heroes had arrived in is being dominated by a worldwide race. You have all these different racers involved, but the number one racer is James Braddock, the older brother to Captain Britain Psylocke back in the main Marvel universe. When it comes to this reality, Jamie is the number one racer. Now, when it comes to our heroes, when they had arrived to this reality, well, they fell out of the sky, but Megan fell off the train perfectly into the car of Jamie's. Now, as soon as she landed inside the car, it seemed that she went under some kind of trance. Now, while our heroes had landed on the ground, Captain Britain saw his brother. And back in the main Marvel universe, Captain Britain does not like his brother at all. And so, as soon as he sees Megan right down the car with this reality version of his brother, he goes after Jamie, leaving the rest of the team behind. Now, when it comes to Rachel, she's right now in some kind of psychic shock. But either way, she does walk onto the track of the race, and she is about to be hit by some racers. Now, you have Nightcrawler try his best to teleport over to her to get her the heck out of there, but unfortunately, he does not have the energy to teleport back once he does get to her. But luckily, Lockheed, the pet dragon, was able to save the both of them. Now, when it comes to the rest of the team, they do go back inside the train. Now, when it comes to Kitty, she begins to watch some TV as a way to fully understand what this world is truly like. Now, while doing that, she does see that James Braddock is the number one racer in this world. But while seeing him on TV, she also sees Megan. But like I said earlier, it seems like Megan is under some kind of trance. But then you have Kitty realize that Captain Britain never came back after chasing after Jamie and also Megan. Now you do have Kitty go outside, and when she does, she finds a car that seemed to be in a very serious accident. It was burnt up, almost completely gone. But then you have Widget walk by. Now when it comes to Widget, like I said earlier, he has the ability to also open up portals that allow our heroes to travel across the multiverse. But he also loves to eat junk. And so when it comes to Widget, he does eat up what's left of the car that Kitty found and being able to recreate it. And once he does, you have Kitty realize that she could use Widget as a way to catch up to Jamie, get Megan back, but to also find Captain Britain. Now, at first, when it comes to Nightcrawler, he does not want to let her go because she's too young to drive. But you didn't have good old Widget say, no, I want Kitty, not you. And of course, she gets in the car and she leaves. Now, when it comes to Kitty Pryde, she was able to quickly find Captain Britain as he was just walking around. Now, when it comes to Brian, he does tell Kitty that once he was able to catch up to Jamie, Jamie did something to him, like some kind of glare he gave Brian as a way to put him under some kind of trance, which then took away most of Brian's powers. Now, Brian does say his powers are coming back, but it was very weird what Jamie did to him. And so for our heroes, they realize that this reality, Jamie has powers, because back in the main Marvel universe, Jamie had just received his powers, but our heroes don't know that yet because they have been traveling across the multiverse. Now, while you have our heroes continue on, they then get pulled over by two police officers, better known as the Dirty Angels. Now, when it comes to the Dirty Angels, they do have names, Rico and Kay, but honestly, they're not really that important for this story. But when it comes to Rico and Kay, they do inform both Captain Britain and also Kitty Pryde what happened to this reality version of Brian Braddock. And they say that he was killed off by his brother Jamie. You see, when it came to Jamie, he is the #1 racer, but Brian was #2. And really, Brian could have beat Jamie, but Jamie could not stand that. And so he killed off his younger brother to make sure that he stayed #1. Now, when it comes to the Dirty Angels, they do inform our heroes that they could not prove that it was Jamie at all. But at the same time, they're still trying to find any kind of evidence to prove that it was Jamie. Now, when it comes to our heroes, they inform the Dirty Angels that their friend was kidnapped by Jamie. And for the cops, they're all like, oh, that's all we need to arrest him. You're telling Gus that he kidnapped somebody? Let's go. We're going to throw him in jail right now. And they leave in their own vehicle. Now, when it comes to Nightcrawler and Alistair, they're trying to fix the train after falling out of the sky. But while doing that, you have Nightcrawler wondering, why in the world is Alistair checking in on Rachel after everything she had went through? And you have Alistair say, don't worry, she's still unconscious, not knowing that she has woken up. Now, when it comes to Rachel, she realizes something's wrong with her once again. And once she goes to a nearby mirror, she begins to see her body once again change into something else, into, well, Megan. And that shows that their connection is still very strong, even though they're now very far apart from one another. Now, I want to shift our focus over to Jamie Braddock and Megan for a very good reason. When it comes to Jamie, he has the ability to warp reality, but I want to talk more about his view on reality. You see, he is able to see all these different kinds of strings. With those strings, he's able to pull them, which allows him to warp reality. And so when it comes to Megan, while she's sitting there constantly changing into other people, he is able to see that she is connected to somebody else. Of course, that would be Rachel. And so he is able to warp reality around him to allow him to put his hand through the mirror of Rachel and try to bring her over to where he and Megan are at. Except he's then interrupted by the Dirty Angels, who are there to arrest him. Now, once you have the rest of the heroes being able to catch up to the Dirty Angels, you have our heroes realize that, well, Well, everyone is running away because James Braddock is using his powers on Megan to make her turn into some kind of creature to attack different people. Now, that creature, or Megan, goes after Brian. And so Brian has no idea that he is currently fighting against his own girlfriend. Now, when it comes to Kitty, she does try her best to take down Jamie, but of course, he was able to stop her because, again, he's able to warp reality and do almost everything he wants to do to anybody. Now, when it comes to Kitty, it does work a tad bit different. Let me explain. So yes, when it comes to Jamie, he's able to control her, but not completely. And the reason why? Because of her phasing ability. And so she was able to escape. But when she did escape, well, that was the moment you had Brian realize that he was beating down on Megan, which he could have killed if he had continued to fight against her. Now, when it comes to Jamie, he decided to go ahead and walk away. Except when he did walk away, he was able to grab Widget and also Lockheed as well. And so now we know our heroes are going to try their best to go after him, to give back Lockheed, to give back Widget, but to also get revenge for what he has done to Megan. Now, I kind of want to explain why does Brian hate Jamie so much for. So back in the main Marvel universe, when it comes to Brian, Bessie, and Jamie, they're all siblings and they all were close to one another. But here's the catch though. When it came to Brian and Bessie, they are twins and they are younger than Jamie. And Jamie got jealous of them. And the reason why? Because their parents and other family members were paying them more attention. And so he got very jealous of always hearing about his younger siblings. Now, when it came to Brian, he looked up to Jamie. He looked up to his big brother, but Jamie did not care. Now, after a while, when it came to Brian being Captain Britain, he found out that, well, Jamie was a criminal, and that bothered Brian so much. Now, when it comes to Jamie, like I said earlier, he was jealous of Brian and Bessie. And even though this is another reality version of Jamie, he feels the same way as the main Marvel universe does. He hates Brian and Betsy. But either way, when it comes to their battle, you do have Jamie being able to take down Brian very easily. Now, when it comes to Kitty Pryde, she tries her best to stop both the brothers from fighting each other. Because again, they're brothers. They should be getting along. But again, when it comes to Jamie, he wants to kill off Brian. Now, when it comes to Jamie, he tells Lockheed, who he now has under his control, to attack Kitty Pryde. And so you have Kitty try to run away. Now, when it comes to Widget, he was able to open up a portal that allows Kitty to get away. But here's the thing. When he opens up a portal, most likely you go into another reality. And so when it comes to Kitty, we have no idea where she's going to just yet. Now, when it comes to Nightcrawler and also Alistair, they have no idea what's going on with Captain Britain, Kitty, Rachel, and even Megan. But you do have the two continuing to still work on the train, except that is when they're confronted by the Dirty Angels, who need somewhere to hide. You see, when it came to the Angels earlier, when they tried to attack Jamie, well, they were technically the reason why the place was blown up because, well, they used a very powerful weapon and also ticked off Jamie. But the people who work there or love going there are very upset about the idea that their place has been blown up. And so they were chasing down the Dirty Angels. And you have Nightcrawler and also Alistair just being very nice to allow them to stay there until the crowd had left. But now we have to shift our focus over to Rachel Summers, who still has a connection to Megan. Now, when it comes to Rachel, she realized that she now has the ability to look through Megan's eyes. Now, when it comes to Megan and Rachel, they want to make Jamie pay for what he has done to them. But they also realize it could be an actual challenge here. But you didn't have Rachel realize when it comes to Megan, she can shapeshift into other people. And so Rachel says, why not use the different forms of the X-Men? You will constantly change into different members of the X-Men to throw him off, because then he'll have no idea how to handle different members of the X-Men, and most likely we can use their abilities to take him down. And so you then have Megan transform into Wolverine as a way to track down Jamie. Now, when it comes to Kitty Pryde, she begins to realize that she has arrived into another reality. But here's the thing. She arrived at the townhouse that belongs to the Braddocks. But also, she is confronted by the housekeeper. Now, once she finds out that she's in the home of the Braddocks, she begins to wonder in the possibility, has she returned back home to the main Marvel universe? Now, when it comes to Megan, she was able to use the powers of Wolverine to actually locate Brian, who was then transformed into a car, well, thanks to Jamie and his warping ability. Now, when it comes to Megan, she also transformed into, well, Longshot, and uses Longshot ability to, well, never miss, to hit the right points to turn Captain Britain back into a regular person. Now, after doing that, she's then confronted by, well, Jamie once again. And you have Jamie say, you know what? It's time for you and I to have a one-on-one conversation. Now, when it comes to Kitty Pryde, she does get confirmation that she is back on the main Marvel universe. She's back in that reality, which is great because now she has a way to get the others back home as long as Widget is able to keep the portal open. Except you didn't have Kitty Pryde begin to hear a noise coming upstairs in the townhouse. Now, when it comes to the housekeeper, she does not want Kitty to go up there. But Kitty says, you know what? I still want to check it out. And so she does. But now we have to jump back over to Megan. Now, when it comes to Megan, she's still using the different powers of the X-Men to throw Jamie off. And matter of fact, she turns into Havoc and being able to blow a hole right through the body of that reality's Jamie. Now, the reason why I say that reality, because when it comes to the main Marvel universe, when you have Kitty Pryde walk into that room, she finds the main Marvel universe version of Jamie. But here's the thing, he has a scar in the same exact spot that the other reality Jamie has a hole at. And so that shows there's some kind of connection, that the original Jamie was able to warp reality so bad that he was able to play with a different, complete other universe reality and put himself in there and play around with that reality over there. Now, let's not forget, when it comes to the main Marvel universe Jamie, his mind was broken in a previous story. And so for him, he's just playing with some dolls that look like Excalibur in other characters in that reality, not knowing that he's messing with that other reality. Now, when it comes to our heroes back over there, they're trying their best to do anything to possibly stop him. But unfortunately, that other reality Jamie is just too strong. But back in the main Marvel universe, you have Kitty realize that he's acting like a child because, again, he's playing with action figures that look like Excalibur. And so she realized if she is able to talk to him like a child, then maybe she could possibly stop him. And so she tells him to go to bed. And he does. Because again, he believes that he is a child. And once he does go to bed, in that other reality, that Jamie and also the angels, they go away. And so the rest of Excalibur is saved from his attacks. But here comes one more problem. When it comes to Kitty Pryde, when she tries to go back through Widget, hoping to take her back over to that reality, well, she comes to find out that she can't go back to that reality. She's stuck on the main Marvel universe while her friends are stuck in a different reality. And so she has no choice but for the night, go ahead and go over to the home of Brian until she is able to think of something else. But while she lays there in bed sleeping, somebody is watching over her. And of course, it's Courtney Ross. But let's not forget, this is not Courtney Ross. This is another version of Saturnine. But this is where we are going to end today's comic book video. So please leave me a like down below and subscribe. But guys, see y'all next time. Later.